Well, eggs are exactly what I'm talking about today. The price, the shortage, and what is your best value in eggs today. And I'm going to share with you how to prep for eggs during a shortage so that you don't ever have to go without and you have fabulous, nutritious foods to feed you, sustain you, even when you can't pick up eggs today. So we're going to go into a couple of stores. We're going to look at all the different brands and types of eggs. We'll go through that, and then I'm going to bring you back into my kitchen and we will prep.
Now, unless you've lived under a rock, you're aware that egg prices have skyrocketed lately. Let's talk about some reasons why. There's a mix of supply chain issues, inflation, the avian flu or bird flu outbreaks that we've all heard about. All of this contributes to rising costs. Farmers, of course, have faced higher feed and transportation costs, and when production slows down, demand drives prices up. And that's why we're seeing prices fluctuate so much, as you see here on the screen with these different pricings just in the grocery store. Let's talk about the different type of eggs that you can find and which ones might be worth stocking up on. I also want to address what's known as greenwashing in the egg industry, and that's where companies use misleading labels to make their eggs seem more ethical or nutritious than they actually are. I'm just saying, buyer beware. Pasture-raised, let's start there. That's the type of egg that I typically try to purchase, but I do ask questions. This sounds like the hens are roaming freely, but the term isn't legally defined in many places, so these conditions can vary. Check locally to find out how that term is used where you are. Organic eggs. This can be slapped on any type of egg. These meet USDA organic standards, no synthetic pesticides, antibiotics, or GMOs, but that doesn't guarantee humane living conditions beyond the minimum requirements. And then there's cage-free, which, as you can see here, some of the cage-free that I'm showcasing are also organic. These hens aren't in small cages, but they can still be packed into large barns with limited space and no outdoor access. Free range. These hens must have some outdoor access, but there's no requirement for how much time they actually spend outside or the quality of that space. I've seen photos where it's just a little tiny slit in the fence so the hen actually can get outside, but do they even know the door is there? So, bottom line, always research the brands and certifications to ensure that you're getting what you expect. And don't forget, shortly hereafter, I'm going to showcase for you some ways to prep and store your eggs and cook them ahead of time once you're home. Don't be afraid to ask questions in your grocers, to shop local, find local farms, and never forget your farmers markets for great produce as well as high-quality pasture-raised eggs. First stop, our neighborhood Sprouts grocery store. We're going to go in and check out and see their different types of eggs, the costs, and do a comparison with my other local grocery store, Fry's, probably similar to what you're seeing everywhere with the egg supply update. And we see Sprouts has their Sprouts brand pasture-raised eggs still at $4.99 a dozen. So that's the same that I've been paying. Cage-free organic is $5.49. So in my opinion, the pasture-raised is better for less. Omega-3, I'm not entirely sure what that means. So we might need to do some research and see what's up with that. But those are $4.49. Here we have the heirloom colored organic pasture-raised eggs for $7.29. 18 of the Vital Farms pasture-raised eggs are $13.99. And then a dozen of Vital Farms is $9.99. So certainly cheaper to buy it in bulk. I'm going to go ahead and pick up 2 dozen of the $4.99 pasture-raised Sprouts eggs. And as a good egg shopping steward, I'm going to open them up and make sure that they're not broken. And this is probably my own greenwashing, but they look pretty good because they're discolored, which usually tells me they're a little more organic and not so streamlined, factory farmed looking. Next up, we're going into Fry's. Inside Fry's, here we are in the egg section. The Simple Truth natural cage-free grain-fed 12 eggs, $6.99, so $2 more than the pasture-raised at Sprouts. And organic, as I've said with greenwashing, what does it really mean? 18 pack, $6.99. And then if you check here, you've got 24 free range medium for $11.80. So that's roughly $6 a dozen. And when I show you what I'm going to do with my meal prep, you'll see where you can actually, it can be advantageous to buy the reduced price when they're just about to go bad. They're still good because when you freeze them in food prep, it's not a problem. Eggland's Best, $2.55 for a dozen. I can't tell what the expiration dates are. It looks like it's labeled over, and I don't want to turn them over while holding the camera and drop them. But you know how to check that yourself. Now, I'm going to have to look up this particular brand, Eggland's Best, and see what that's about. I'm not entirely sure. But here we go, $3.66 reduced price. All right, Fries, I'm going to give you a C- for your egg pricing today, and Sprouts is going to get an A. So in this part of the video, I am going to share with you my favorite go-to for not only fast, efficient breakfasts or meals of any type on the go, but good, healthy ways that you can prep for and store eggs so that when there is a supply chain shortage or the prices go through the roof or something like that, you are still prepared to get that nutritious, soul-nourishing impact that eggs can allow you to have. So I've shared this before, but this is my mini quiche recipe. Now you're going to start with eggs as your foundation. Today I'm going to be using my organic pasture-raised eggs by Trader Joe's, but I am still going to tell you, as I shared earlier, I do have also, because I couldn't find pasture-raised eggs a couple of days ago or last week, I do have the large brown cage-free eggs by Simple Truth Organic. There's the organic sticker. Now, because I still feel like while I don't know that these chickens ever got out of the cage, I know that this food option is better than any ultra processed, any bagel, any slice of toast, or any of that that you can have any single day. So my basic recipe calls for, the one that I typically use calls for 4 eggs, and then about a half a cup of one of these options. Today I'm using the Good Culture cottage cheese. Okay, so a half a cup. You're going to add in that to 4 eggs. You can also use goat milk yogurt, okay? Sheep's yogurt. You can use organic Greek yogurt. You can use any yogurt that you want. You can actually even use a cream, a milk, whatever you want. It's just something else to go along with the eggs. The nice thing is if you use a good, healthy protein, which is one reason why I like this particular one, the Good Culture cottage cheese, get the whole milk kind. It adds a little bit more protein. It adds a little more creaminess and richness, and it makes it taste fantastic. Now, you can put whatever filling you want. So this week, one of the ones that I'm making are Bison filled eggs. You can literally choose any fillings that you want. You can make it vegetarian. I do have some feta cheese here on the bottom. You can see those little white specks. You can make it all vegetarian, so you could do a spinach, mushroom, red pepper, garlic, onion type thing. You could also, the second option I'm going to be making is grilled chicken with peppers and onions and mushrooms. So that just gives you some idea. You can be as creative as you want, but we're going to start with my Bison ones. Now, I mentioned that the basic recipe is 4 eggs to a half a cup. I'm actually doing 7 eggs because that's what I have in my little container. So I put these in my little Ninja bullet, and then I'm going to add the cultured cottage cheese, and then we will put this in here and bake it. You can also add in any seasonings that you want. I typically add my seasonings in before I blend it, so I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper and just a little bit of salt, because the Bison, I've already salted that, and sometimes it can be a little saltier. So I don't want to make them too salty. But if you wanted to put in basil, oregano, any extra spices, put them in now, and we're going to whip it up. Here it is, ready to go. Sometimes I'll put the cheese in there with it, especially if it's a soft cheese. Almost didn't get that on there good. That's a blooper. We just blend. And that's it. It's ready to go. I will tell you that it's often easier with these silicone muffin tins because they're kind of flimsy. I always like to put it on the rack first and then fill it. That way you're not kind of balancing it so that your egg mixture doesn't go crazy and spill all over your cabinet and floor. Guess how I figured that one out? Now we're just going to open that up and we're going to pour it in evenly. Now, the thing I like about this, if you're carnivore or keto, this is a fabulous meal. If you're pure carnivore, take out the veggies. This particular one has onion, garlic, some spinach, and red pepper. What do you know? I might almost get this perfect with 7 eggs. Not quite. I have a little bit left, so I will mix up some more for my chicken batch. Then we're just going to slide them into the oven. I cook it at about 360. It calls for 375. My oven cooks a little bit hot, so you'll have to measure it for yourself. And then I cook it for about 16 minutes, check it. Sometimes that'll be done, and sometimes it goes to 20 minutes. For this next batch, I am adding in, as I mentioned, peppers, mushrooms, onions, garlic, again, some feta cheese because I'm doing my typical refrigerator clean out and it's about to be done. And then this organic pasture-raised chicken. This is an absolutely fantastic carnivore keto type dish. We've got our pasture-raised eggs. I'm adding in some organic Greek yogurt, which a lot of times I use the Good Culture cottage cheese. And then I have my muffin tins ready with feta cheese, some onion in it, chicken, pasture-raised chicken, and then we're just going to pour this over the top, bake these, and they freeze beautifully and make a fantastic keto carnivore option. Don't want to fill them too full. I've made that mistake in the past because they will rise up. You pop them in the oven. Again, I usually cook mine at about 360 because my oven cooks a little hot. You'll have to test yours out. I'll cook them for about 15, 16 minutes and then check them and see how they do. Sometimes they need a little bit extra and sometimes they don't, but usually no more than 20 minutes. And now you have a perfect keto carnivore. And here is the finished product. To the left in the redder container is the Bison, which I filled pretty full as you can see, and that was not a good move. So from now on, I'm going to leave plenty below. And then the second one is the chicken and pepper one, and I didn't fill that nearly as full and it didn't overflow. So I ended up using a total of 11 eggs and it made 23 quiche. Had I filled those less full, it would have easily made 24 mini quiche. And then I'm simply going to store those. You'll see the little silicone bag. I'll store about 6 of those in here and about 6 of them also stack high in that. These are great for traveling with and they freeze well. You can pop them in a bag. You can pop them in a little ice pack type thing and ice kind of cooler and take it with you and they are amazing. So what do you think? Now you can make a traditional quiche in a regular quiche pan with your eggs. The beauty of these is that you can do a lot of things. So you can make quiche. You can actually freeze the eggs themselves, crack them, take them out of the shell. You can put them in little ice cubes or even these muffin tins, the silicone muffin tins. Put a little pinch of salt in there and then freeze them. I'd cover them, freeze them, and then use them as you need to. You can also lightly scramble the eggs and freeze them and then remove them from the skillet while they're still just a little bit runny, freeze them. And then for me, I've done that before, but because the texture is such a thing for me, I drown them in salsa because that covers up any strange texture that might show up with the frozen eggs. But again, it's a very nutritious meal. It's a great way to get your protein and get all of those nutrients that you need that we know are so common in eggs. Eggs have been sold down the river, sadly, in the past as being high cholesterol and something not good for us. And the reality of it is nature delivered these straight to us in its purest form. Take advantage of them. Bon appetit and enjoy. I also love to make a scramble out of these. So kind of like the Bison that I showcased, you can then scramble these in with it, and that freezes beautifully as well. And again, pop it out, warm it up, cover it in some hot sauce or salsa, add a little sliced avocado, and you have a beautiful breakfast, lunch, or dinner, something that's quick, easy, effective, on the go, and you've prepped and planned for any egg shortages, supply chain issues, or an exorbitant price hike in eggs like we've been experiencing. I'm Jackie Ulmer. Please subscribe to the channel, give me a like, it puts it out there for more people to see, and also leave me a comment and let me know how you've used eggs in the past and any suggestions that you have. And grab my guide over at lowertoxiclife.com for all of my grocery lists, shopping guides, reading labels, recipes, and more.